Hi members, my name is S.L.Ager and I'm the author of the Cadwallader Quest, the vocabulary novels and their supporting workbooks, and you can see those behind me there. Welcome to our fairly new segment, which is called Tutor Focus, and thanks to Agnes and her fabulous group, which is the 11+, the ISEB, SATs, GCSE and A-level resource group for hosting us here today. And today I'd like to say a wonderful welcome to Letitia and Ming of Richmond Maths Tutors. Hi guys, how are you today?
We're very well, thank you,
Good
Sheila.
morning, we're good.
And thank you very much for all the hard work by the admin team that you guys have been doing in the back.
It's our pleasure. I mean, I actually don't know you guys very well, so it'll be really, really nice for me to get to know you better today. And we like to keep the segment fairly brief, so if it's okay with you guys, we'll go straight into the questions. Is that okay? Oh. So I guess the title of your tuition company kind of gives away what it is you do and where you are, but please tell our members what you specialise in and where you're based, guys.
So we specialize in maths, whether it's general maths or 11+ maths, and we do a lot of confidence boosters as well as 11+ group tutoring for problem solving.
Okay, and is it all online now, or do you think you'll go back? Were you face-to-face before COVID? Where are you planning on sort of teaching?
We had face-to-face lessons. We have still got some face-to-face lessons only for special needs purposes, but everyone else has mostly moved on to online. And we would like to keep it that way, but we will make exceptions if need be.
Okay, and do you do one-to-one as well as group, or is it all group?
We do one-to-ones and groups, so depending on what their needs are and what time slots we have available.
Okay, and do you specialise, you mentioned 11+, do you specialise to any specific schools or any specific kind of needs within maths, or do you cover everything? Can you cater to everybody?
Because we're based in Southwest London, in Richmond, so most of the schools that our students target tend to be the top academic ones within the local area. So in terms of state schools, there'll be schools like Tiffin's and the Sutton group.
Yeah.
In terms of independent schools, it'll be the St. Paul's, Girls, Boys, Hampton, S.L.Ager, and Godolphin and Latimer, which are girls' schools. So it's really the southwest area which we focus on.
Which interestingly hosts quite a lot of what we call the super-selective schools.
Yeah, I mean it's quite tough. So I really feel for these but for the students who are trying to aim for these schools, because I certainly couldn't imagine myself going through what they're going through in terms of both maths and English and any other aspects as well. So it is very, very tough on these kids.
Yeah, it is, and all the best to all of them, and I take my hat off to all of these kids that are trying for these schools. But as my sister would say, she's a bit hard. She says, it's good training for life. Yeah. So, okay, so I don't know who's going to answer this one. Maybe you both can. So why and how did you become tutors? I must say, you guys are married, right?
Yep,
Yeah. Husband and wife tuition team.
Well, I mean, professionally, we've only been tutoring for the past 4 to 5 years, as our main income source, that is. But previously, I had no intention of going to tutoring or teaching. I started off teaching. I never really had any plans of going to teaching or tutoring. But it was really because I'm the youngest of 5 children, and I've got 4 older sisters, and each of them have daughters. So 2 of my oldest nieces, which are now 30+, they started the ball rolling for me in that sense. So I had to help them with their maths for the 11+ers at Tiffin's. And then luckily, they got through okay. And then I've got 2 younger nieces that came up, and they live down in Sutton. And they went to non-such. And again, I was roped in to help them with their maths at the time. So that was, again, almost about 18 years ago. So I was tutoring just friends and families, to be honest with you. So we were working previously we had a little restaurant, a little karaoke bar.
Ah.
So, but the lifestyle for that was fantastic at that time.
Yes.
But since we had children, we kind of like moved on, and we thought, okay, well, it's time for our lives to be in another chapter. And education at the time was what we were aiming for. But then I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching. I love the staff there. I love the school. Love the children. Hated the education system. It was quite restrictive in terms of what teachers could do and what we couldn't do.
Yeah.
And tutoring was just becomes like a natural flow for us.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up tutoring, to be honest with you.
So just to recap there, Ming. So you are an actual maths teacher as well. Before you became a tutor, you trained to be a teacher.
Yeah. So
Right.
I trained at UCL under the Schools Direct scheme.
Wow.
Was at Coombe Girls, which was a state school just behind Tiffin's.
Okay.
And it just is really from there onwards.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah, because I think that's just quite important to get that in. So you went from sort of having the bar to training to be a teacher, and then into tutoring. So, and this leads me on to, again, both of you, what are your greatest strengths, would you say?
I'm a bit like a drill sergeant, but in a good way. It does sound horrible, but it's not that bad. I tend to search out any missing gaps in children's knowledge. And once I find them, I like to make sure that they get past those gaps, they understand it. So basically, it's like, for example, doing fractions. They kind of get the gist of fractions, but they may miss out things like they don't know the steps they don't understand how to get to the steps of, for example, converting all the denominators to the same denominator before they can actually add them up. So I find those weaknesses and I help them understand what they need to do, rather than teach them, here, you just do it this way. You don't. You actually understand what you need to do before you just do it. Yeah. So I do things like that, and I work really hard at getting them to practice it to the point where they don't need to think. It comes as a second nature rather than just mechanical. So if I put words, they will understand it rather than just put the numbers and figure it out.
And I think sort of understanding. So yeah, I'm horrible at maths. I think I've even got dyscalculia. I look at numbers and I just gloss over. But I also think when I try to think back to how I was taught, I don't think I understood why I was doing anything. I was just, somebody had said, you do it like this, 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 this. And I was doing these steps and I had no idea what I was doing or how it applied to anything. You know, I don't even think when I was a kid, we even had like the, you know, the pizza sort of diagrams to show us that fractions actually exist. They're real. I just thought maths was this abstract, weird, and I didn't have a clue. So, and also the thing with maths as well is if you miss out a step, then you can't really move on because you've got like a big black hole to jump into, haven't you?
It is.
That's really important. Thank goodness my kids are better at maths than I am. So, Ming, what would you say your strengths are?
I'm actually kind of like, we're almost like polar opposites in some respects.
Well,
for me,
opposites always attract, don't they?
Well, it's nice because I feel as if we cover each other's gaps, to be honest with you. Whereas I tend to, well, I feel as if I tend to listen more to what the students are saying. So I actually spend more time listening than speaking. And this is something about my oldest daughter. Her teacher was saying to us as parents is that we've got two ears, but one mouth for a reason. So we should spend more time listening. So what I prefer to do is I like to listen to what the children are saying, just so I can pick up on what their misconceptions might be and how best to approach a problem from their perspective. So I like to make it slightly more relevant to their world, because maths can be quite abstract. But if we can connect the abstract level of maths to a child's understanding in terms of how they see the real world. So, for example, you gave the example of pizzas. It becomes more relatable. It's trying to bridge that gap from reality and abstract. And I feel that I prefer to listen to see what I can do from what they say.
But that sounds like you say, that sounds like a great team, that you're sort of covering each other's gaps and watching each other's backs. Because I'm much more in the Letitia drill sergeant camp, and my husband's much more of the listener. So I get that completely. And
You need a bit of both. You need
Tiger Mother springs to mind.
I'm not that bad actually. I'm a lot more lenient with my own children because I just can't be bothered with the stress that comes along with shouting at the kids.
Yeah, that's another whole ball game, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Your own children are in a different bracket. I get that. So, and this is something that we ask all our tutors, and you're only allowed to give one tip. So perhaps you can give one tip each, because you are a partnership here. So it's one top tip each for a parent.
Can I start?
Yeah, you go.
For me, I see 11+ exams, GCSE exams, any type of exam as, I imagine it as like a selfie. It's a selfie plus filters. So anybody can have a good hair day, or I actually don't have that much hair, so it's not so much of a problem for me. But it's literally just a snapshot of your children at that moment in time.
Yeah.
You can have good days, you can have bad days. And these filters, they only look at your children, they only assess your children in a particular way. It doesn't define them.
Yeah.
So my biggest tip is don't take them seriously, but they are only just a snapshot of that moment in time in a particular view. Yeah. It doesn't define them. Don't let it define them. Yeah. Because as important as they are, it's not the end all and be all. That'll be the biggest thing that I always like to say to all children, and all parents, to be honest with you.
That's a really good tip, because not all children are going to possibly achieve the marks they need to be selected for these schools, and it must not be a brand on their confidence for the rest of their life. I mean, very good tip.
As like a flower, you tend to them, you give them the nutrients, make sure they have sun, have some water, but you can't control when they blossom and when they bloom. That takes a bit of time and just love, to be honest with you. It just takes time to allow these flowers to bloom in their own natural way.
That's a great analogy. Thank you. And Letitia, what would be your one top tip?
Being the drill sergeant that I am, I do say that constant work daily in small doses and practicing constantly, it would be the best practice regardless of where you end up, because it's not where you end up, it's really how much effort you put in. For us, it really is how much effort you put in. It doesn't matter where you end up. So just keep practicing, don't give up, and everything in small doses, because it's kind of like stuffing yourself full of food. You get so full that you don't want to eat that thing ever again. But just like chocolate sometimes. But if you just do it daily, you have a piece of chocolate every day, for example, you won't get sick of it, and you actually find it quite enjoyable, and you'll find that the different flavors of chocolate might actually appeal to you after a while. So I find that that's the best way to go forward, rather than concentrating, right, you must do this all at one go, really focused, really intense. I find it's not a good way forward for any child to do that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you and I are very similar in our views, in that I don't believe there's any magic to passing these tests. I believe it's being consistently consistent, and that's me stealing a friend's phrase, at practice, and not overdoing it. Small bite-sized chunks. I guess that's why BBC called their website BBC Bite Size as well, is just keep going, and also, like you say, Letitia, that's not just for the 11+. If you've got that work ethic through life, it's really going to help. And sometimes we're not always motivated, but if we are kind of disciplined, then we'll move forward. So
becomes a habit.
Two brilliant tips there, guys, and not defining your child with this, pass or fail, and keep going, keep the practice going. So thanks ever so much for your time, guys. It's been great to talk to you and meet you properly. Can you tell us in the group where we can find you, on social media, what you're going to be doing in the future, you know, where people can actually reach out and contact you guys if they want help from you.
Yeah, most of our resources, because I do a lot of videos where I'm just sitting there with my children, basically. And that's regularly updated on our Facebook page at Richmond Maths Tutors, and also on our YouTube channel. We have a website, but that's not as updated as regularly as our Facebook page or our YouTube channel.
Okay, and are the handles for those at Richmond Maths Tutors for both Facebook and YouTube?
Yeah.
Should be, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and once we broadcast this in the group, we can always put those links in the comments so that people can access them straight away. Excuse my dog's barking there, somebody's just knocking at the door. So, but I just wanted to say, oh, how sweet. Hello, what's the little dog called?
Shadow.
Oh, gorgeous.
With the whole interview, because he's kind of like wanting his love, so he's sat on Ming's lap.
Oh. Well, I've got 3 of them, so when they bark, they're quite noisy. But oh yeah, we love a dog in our tutoring sessions as well. So.
Oh yes.
But lovely to meet you guys. Thanks again to Agnes, and yeah, thank you ever so much for your time today. It's been lovely to talk to you both.
Thank you for your time as well.
Absolutely fantastic.
Pleasure. Bye, guys.